No one expected that refining a 7th grade high-level pill would cause so much trouble for 2 7th grade alchemists, including Xiao Yan. During the final fusion process, one of the alchemists suddenly spat out blood, on the verge of failure. Continuing from the previous episode, Tang Jin, the Valley Master of Flame-Burning Valley, required 2 alchemists to assist him in refining a 7th grade high-level pill. However, the prerequisite was that they had to endure the roasting of his 9 dragons thunder fire for 10 minutes to be deemed qualified. After a period of selection, only one person passed the test. Just when Tang Jin thought the pill refinement plan was about to fail, Xiao Yan stepped forward at the critical moment and volunteered to give it a try. Hearing this, some of the alchemists present showed mocking expressions on their faces. After all, even they couldn't endure the 9 dragons thunder fire for long, let alone a young, inexperienced kid like Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan paid no attention to the ridicule. He promptly summoned the crystal lotus heart fire. With the infusion of his soul power, the flame quickly transformed into a delicate jade-green fire lotus. Under his deliberate suppression, those present could hardly feel any heat from it. Spectators mocked, a flame with such low temperature? It might not even be as good as some flames condensed from Do Chi. Amidst the sneers, the fire lotus slowly drilled into the hovering 9 dragons thunder fire. The 9 fire dragons within the flame seemed to sense its presence and immediately pounced on it. Seeing this, the mockery in the eyes of the alchemists grew even stronger, as if they were already imagining Xiao Yan's imminent embarrassment. However, just as the sneers appeared, they abruptly froze. The once formidable 9 fire dragons halted instantly upon approaching the fire lotus, as if they had encountered something terrifying. The next moment, they darted back swiftly. This unbelievable scene caused the hall to fall into a sudden silence. Tang Jin's expression grew increasingly serious. After all, there were not many flames that could make the 9 dragons thunder fire so fearful. He could now confirm that the jade-green flame summoned by Xiao Yan was indeed a type of heavenly flame. Even the red-clad woman beside Tang Jin had a glint of interest in her eyes as she looked at Xiao Yan. In her opinion, anyone with such means could not be an ordinary person. However, she wondered how much of a chance she would have if she were to face him in a duel. At this thought, the red-clad woman couldn't help but feel eager. If it weren't for the unsuitable setting, she might have challenged Xiao Yan on the spot. After all, this wasn't the first time she had done something like that. Even Tang Jin felt helpless towards the competitive nature of this woman. Meanwhile, the 10-minute test time had just ended. Xiao Yan beckoned with his hand, and the fire lotus swiftly transformed into a flame and returned to his body. Xiao Yan said, "Valley Master Tang, have I passed?" Tang Jin laughed. Do I even need to say it? Congratulations, Xiao Yan. With you joining us, we finally have enough people. As long as the 2 of you can help me successfully refine this pill, the reward will surely satisfy you both. Of course, if you have any specific requests, feel free to mention them. Xiao Yan asked, "Does this reward include some of Flame-Burning Valley's cultivation techniques or Do skills?" Tang Jin replied, "As long as it's not one of our Flame-Burning Valley's most guarded secrets, anything else is negotiable." "So, Xiao Yan, what have you set your sights on?" Hearing this, Xiao Yan's heart stirred, and he clasped his fists with a smile. The Skyfire 3 mysterious changes. Upon hearing these words, both Tang Jin and the red-clad woman beside him were stunned. The Skyfire 3 mysterious changes was one of the treasures of their flame-burning valley. Though this secret technique might be of little use to some, it was invaluable for those with unique flames within their bodies. As such, the Skyfire 3 mysterious changes was strictly guarded even within Flame-Burning Valley. Only the true core disciples could cultivate the first stage of this technique. The remaining 2 stages depended on one's contribution to the sect and their talent. Given that even core disciples found it hard to fully learn the technique, it showed just how important it was to the Flame-Burning Valley. Xiao Yan's gaze was fixed on Tang Jin, his fists slowly clenching inside his sleeves. He was determined to obtain the Skyfire 3 mysterious changes. If Tang Jin refused, Xiao Yan was prepared to put in significant effort to persuade him. The crowd in the hall was astonished by Xiao Yan's demand. They hadn't expected him to make such a bold request. After all, the Skyfire 3 mysterious changes was highly coveted even by outsiders. This young man's ambition was indeed great. After a long silence, Tang Jin finally shook his head slowly. According to the rules of Flame Burning Valley, such techniques could not be shared outside the sect. Even as the Valley Master, he couldn't break this rule. Hearing this, Xiao Yan felt a wave of disappointment. He had underestimated the importance of the Skyfire 3 mysterious changes to the Flame Burning Valley. However, this technique seemed almost tailored for him, given his possession of multiple heavenly flames. If he could unleash all 3 stages, the increase in his power would be immense. Thus, he was determined to obtain it. After pondering for a moment, Xiao Yan, still unwilling to give up, said, "Valley Master Tang, is this pill extremely important to you?" Tang Jin hesitated slightly, then glanced at the red-clad woman beside him. She was his daughter, Tang Hur. 6 months ago, she had suffered a backlash from forcibly merging with the 9 Dragons Thunder Fire and now had less than a year to live. This pill was Tang Jin's last hope to save her. However, the success rate of refining this pill was only 50%. Xiao Yan mentioned that if he assisted and used his heavenly flame, the success rate might be higher. Tang Jin gave him a surprised look but, given the previous test, did not question him much. Perhaps this young man indeed had some skill. Since time was running out for Tang Hur, Tang Jin finally agreed. If Xiao Yan could truly help him successfully refine the pill, he would allow Xiao Yan to take the core disciple examination. Passing the trial would grant Xiao Yan access to the Skyfire 3 mysterious changes. This way, the Elders' Council wouldn't object either. Hearing this, Xiao Yan nodded with delight. He knew it was almost impossible to obtain the Skyfire 3 mysterious changes without any obstacles. Then, Tang Jin dismissed everyone to rest and prepare for the alchemy process the next day. He himself walked towards the other side of the hall. Tang Jin smiled and said, I'm quite curious to see what Xiao Yan is capable of. I hope he lives up to my expectations." After a day of preparation, Xiao Yan, Tang Hur, Master Huan, and Tang Jin arrived at the center of Valley's plaza. Their appearance instantly quieted the previously bustling plaza. After all, the disciples of Flame Burning Valley knew today was the day Valley Master Tang Jin and 2 alchemy masters would join forces to refine a pill. Any disturbance would incur serious consequences. Before starting, Tang Jin instructed Xiao Yan and Master Huan to be mentally prepared. The alchemy process would not only be lengthy but also involved 8 highly complex steps. To ease their burden, Tang Jin would use the 9 Dragons Thunder Fire to refine the ingredients, while the fusion of the ingredients would be handled by Master Huan and Xiao Yan. After arranging everything, Tang Jin waved his sleeve, and a massive crimson cauldron landed heavily in the center of the stone platform. The cauldron was adorned with patterns resembling erupting volcanoes, exuding a wild aura. At first glance, Xiao Yan knew the quality of this cauldron was not inferior to his myriad beast cauldron. Master Huan, standing nearby, also looked at the cauldron with intense envy. Master Huan remarked, "The Mountain Fusion Cauldron. It's one of the treasures listed on the Heavenly Cauldron list. I didn't expect it to be in Valley Master Tang's possession. Truly enviable." Tang Jin chuckled, just a stroke of luck back then. As he finished speaking, he flicked his fingers, and the 9 Dragons Thunder Fire quickly shot into the Mountain Fusion Cauldron, transforming into a raging blaze. The 9 small fire dragons within the fire instantly grew, spitting out silver flames from their mouths. As soon as the medicinal ingredients entered the cauldron, the 9 fire dragons pounced and swallowed them in one gulp. While Tang Jin began refining the ingredients, Xiao Yan and Master Huan quickly injected their soul forces into the cauldron. Upon entering, they immediately felt the scorching heat inside. Xiao Yan managed it better, but Master Huan's face changed slightly. The 9 Dragons Thunder Fire inside the cauldron was much stronger than during the previous test. Thankfully, Tang Jin had given him a pill earlier, otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to endure for long. Just as their soul forces entered the cauldron, Tang Jin's voice suddenly sounded in their ears. "The first batch of ingredients is almost fully refined. It's up to you to handle the fusion." Hearing this, Xiao Yan and Master Huan quickly wrapped the medicinal liquids with their soul forces and began to slowly merge the refined medicinal powers. Seeing the 2 working seamlessly without any errors, Tang Jin let out a small sigh of relief and proceeded to draw on another batch of ingredients for refining. Although it was Xiao Yan's first time participating in such a divided labor alchemy process, he didn't make any mistakes. Given his current soul strength, the task wasn't extremely difficult. Moreover, with the protection of the crystal lotus heart fire, the 9 dragons' thunder fire within the cauldron posed no threat to him. After 7 continuous days of sleepless refining, they finally reached the highly anticipated 8th step. At this moment, all the floating medicinal ingredients above the stone platform had been added to the cauldron. The intense fire attribute energy caused the air to appear slightly distorted. Tang Jin turned to Xiao Yan and Master Huan, clasped his hands, and said solemnly, "I've completed the refining of the ingredients. The final fusion is up to you two." Upon hearing this, Xiao Yan and Master Huan gritted their teeth and nodded, quickly focusing their minds. Inside the cauldron, 8 small light clusters hovered, emitting a rich medicinal fragrance. Xiao Yan's task now was to fully merge these 8 clusters of medicinal liquid. If he failed, the entire alchemy process would be a failure, and he could forget about obtaining the Skyfire 3 mysterious changes. Realizing this, Xiao Yan's hand clenched tightly. He could only succeed this time. After exchanging a glance with Master Huan, their vast soul forces surged out and began to slowly fuse the 8 drops of medicinal liquid. This was an extremely time-consuming step, and any impatience could lead to failure. As time passed, the 8 small light clusters gradually merged under Xiao Yan's control. Tang Jin, observing from the stone platform, couldn't help but be impressed. Xiao Yan is indeed extraordinary. Not only can he maintain the pace of fusion, but he also ensures there are no mistakes, and his soul force is exceptionally strong, much stronger than Master Huan, who is also a 7th grade alchemist. With these thoughts in mind, Tang Jin glanced at Master Huan and noticed his somewhat pale complexion. It seemed that fusing the medicinal power under the pressure of the 9 dragons' thunder fire over the past few days had taken a significant toll on him. As everyone watched, the fusion process led by Master Huan and Xiao Yan was nearing its end. As the medicinal fragrance grew stronger, their hand seals suddenly changed. The two shouted, "Fusion!" 2 beams of light, one blue and one red, shot out violently from within the cauldron, reaching up to 100 meters high. As the brilliant light surged, the medicinal fragrance reached its peak. At this moment, everyone present showed a hint of joy. The onlookers exclaimed, "Did it succeed?" At the edge of the plaza, Tang Huo's tense heart finally relaxed, and a beautiful smile appeared on her charming face. On the stone platform, Tang Jin suddenly stood up. Facing Xiao Yan and Master Huan, he clasped his hands and said, "The medicinal ingredients have all been fused. Now comes the most crucial part, forming the pill." Xiao Yan nodded slightly and glanced at Master Huan beside him. Noticing his pale complexion, Xiao Yan hesitated and asked, "Master Huan, can you continue?" Hearing Xiao Yan's question, Master Huan quickly composed himself, waved his hand, and smiled, "Don't worry." Despite his words, his pale face betrayed his struggle. Since Master Huan insisted, Xiao Yan refrained from saying more. Although Tang Jin also sensed that something was wrong with Master Huan, there was no time to think about anything else at this critical moment. Gritting his teeth, he said, "Please proceed. If the fused medicinal power is left too long, it will affect the success rate of the pill formation." Upon hearing this, the two changed their hand seals. Inside the cauldron, the blue and red lights collided violently. Due to the infusion of soul power into the medicinal liquid, the impact caused Xiao Yan's body to tremble slightly. He managed to withstand the energy shock thanks to the protection of the crystal lotus heart fire. However, Master Huan, who was already at his limit, wasn't so fortunate. His face turned ashen, and he suddenly spat a mouthful of blood. As he collapsed, the entire hall fell silent. Everyone knew that a problem with the alchemist at this stage would lead to disastrous results. At this moment, Tang Jin's face aged visibly as he murmured in a low voice, "Did it still fail in the end?"